Welcome back to Transcriber from Reddit. Today's topic comes from the subreddit exchristian, posted by user creamy_tangerini. This was posted around 7 days ago. This post is a text and photo post. The title reads, "What was one of the most absurd things you were denied in the name of religion?" The flair for this post is discussion and a dark gray tag. The body of the post reads as follows. For me, it was a watch. This was back in the day. I was 10, and a friend at school had a sweet NKOTB watch. Side note, the initials NKOTB stands for New Kids on the Block. I continue reading. I didn't even know who the band was, but the flip top was oh so cool and impressive, lol. My friend let me borrow the watch for the weekend, parentheses, I don't know, in initials IDK. That's what we did back then, end parentheses. And my mother flipped the hell out. She confiscated it immediately and gave it back on the way to school Monday morning, instructing me to carry it in my backpack and not wear it. The words not wear it are in all caps. She told me God was watching and was counting on me to be honest and obedient. She said God would tell her if I took it out of my backpack and wore it, that both she and God would be disappointed. A watch. A damn watch. What about you guys? Below the text, we see two pictures. The first one, on a red background, is a white New Kids on the Block watch that has the 5 band members featured on the top. Going to the second photo, shows what happens when OP flipped the top up on the watch. On the inside of the white lid, we see New Kids on the Block, and the watch face, we see a digital readout screen surrounded by the words Quartz at the top and Nelsonic at the bottom. As of recording, this has 643 upvotes and 588 comments. Now, before I start featuring some of the comments here in this video, I personally do have some stories to share about the things that were denied to me in the name of religion. Backstreet Boys were a huge no-no. Makeup was also a huge no-no, though it varied on the day if it was because my mom didn't like it because it wasn't Christian or if it was because she didn't wear it, so therefore I wouldn't wear it. Short shorts, and by short I mean anything above the knees, were not allowed. Tank tops were not allowed. Any kind of new secular music that wasn't explicitly on the Christian radio or explicitly Christian itself, that was denied. Corsets were also not allowed. Any kind of corset top that would allow me to show my shoulders, specifically. And if you ever had the unbearable shame of going through any of the Dana Gresh old style purity tests, yeah, I went through those as well, and I do remember going through each of my shirts and my mom trying to tell me that I had to purity check every single thing I wore. It wasn't too hard for her to do since I was a very sheltered kid by my parents' volition. I do also remember my aunt showing us animated features and some Muppet stuff. The animated features were mostly, I believe, Winnie the Pooh. And oh my God, all the Muppet stuff that she had. Some Disney movies too. Unless they were animated, my parents stayed away from the Disney movies. And they also didn't like Harry Potter, but they did like Lord of the Rings. Anyway, that is a small sampling of what I was denied in the name of religion, specifically evangelical Christianity, especially in our little segment of Wells. Now, on to the comments. User Year of the Rabbit commented, a boyfriend. The guy I liked is Mormon, so both sets of parents were vehemently not okay with the idea of us dating. He got the shit beaten out of him by his dad for giving me rides home after school. Religion was completely fake to me at that age, parentheses, 15, end parentheses, but it became something I hated after that. He was such a kind soul and funny and smart, but none of that mattered to his dad. V-neck shirts. God forbid God forbid someone see I have an upper chest. Now I wear the deepest V-necks I can find. User Mini Angel Girl responded saying, I love this act of reparation. Moving on to the next comment. Gracie M20 commented, wasn't allowed to watch anything with sorcery in it, except for The Lord of the Rings because my dad liked it. Edit. Also, my dad doesn't want me to get a Kermit the Frog watch because the band on it is Rainbow. User Year of the Rabbit responds saying, I truly can't imagine being against Kermit the Frog. Side note, neither can I, Year of the Rabbit. User 7Mars commented saying, a lot of shows and movies. My mom declared Disney's Hercules and The Hunchback of Notre Dame evil. Power Rangers was evil. Classic Sabrina the Teenage Witch and Bewitched were both evil. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was evil. Angel was so evil my mom forced me to stop watching it as a teenager when she saw one cold open she, quote, didn't like, end quote. Powerpuff Girls was evil. Harry Potter obviously was evil. Dungeons and Dragons was evil. Basically anything fun was evil. Side note, so true. And they never had really good reasons to defend why they were against it, unless they picked up all of the books that focus on the family and related Christian media outlets released, and articles to help them defend, aka enforce the rules that they were imposing on their kids for not watching the things. User Farrender-Ritter commented, my first church had a rule against listening to any secular music lyrics, not even if the lyrics were clean. I got around it by mostly listening to music without any lyrics, like EDM and movie soundtracks. The church was also absolutely puritanical about sexual content in movies. I remember being told not to watch Night at the Museum because they said that, quote, Pocahontas shows her midriff. The words Pocahontas shows her midriff is in quotes. Which isn't even true, by the way. She's totally covered head to toe, and it was Sacagawea, not Pocahontas, you ignorant racist fucks. Side note, how awful is it that people warning against the movie Night at the Museum can't even get the woman's name right? For God's sake, it's Sacagawea, not Pocahontas, and I'm pretty sure you're mixing up Night at the Museum with the Disney movie Pocahontas. Can't even bother to research this stuff, my God. Moving on. User Darren from Finance commented, we weren't allowed to play card games on Sunday, parentheses. We were a big cribbage family, and all us kids loved Rummy 500, and parentheses. Cards any other day of the week, fine. Other games on Sunday, sure. But somehow cards on Sunday were the devil's chapbook. Go figure. User crispier_cream commented, an education. I was homeschooled all the way from pre-K to graduation. Next up, user Done Flawless LLL commented, watching The Simpsons growing up during the Golden Age. My brothers and I had to sneak off and watch it on an old portable black and white TV we found in the attic. User 1-relationship-539 commented, at church, we weren't allowed to use the bathroom, even if we were on our periods, feeling like we were going to puke, needed a break, etc. They said the rule was put in place because they, quote, didn't want people walking away from the words of God, end quote. I remember sitting in a chair, silently sobbing because I was bleeding through my pants. After the sermon, the priest came up to me and scolded me for trying to go to the bathroom after he had said it wasn't allowed. I walked out of that room with blood-stained pants and red eyes from crying. I was 12 years old. Thankfully, after my parents heard about this, I was allowed to watch the sermons online instead of going to the actual church. Side note, that is an absolutely horrific thing to go through as a child. It's bad enough when you first get your period and everything gets bloody and you're worried that people are going to make fun of you, or worse comes to worse and they do make fun of you. My heart goes out to 1-relationship-539. Next up, always another secret _ commented, couldn't watch the Smurfs because the cat was named after a demon, parentheses, Azrael, end parentheses, and there was only one girl Smurf, so all the Smurfs must be gay. All is italicized. Couldn't watch Care Bears because they used magic. Couldn't watch All Dogs Go to Heaven because animals don't have souls and can't go to heaven. But yes, let's read stories from the Big Red Children's Bible Stories book and show images of a valley of skeletons coming back to life. Or revisit the torture porn-like of descriptions of the crucifixion. Totally normal things for kids. No, quote, friendship is magic, end quote here. User Shoddy-Initiative 550 commented, I wasn't allowed to read anything non-Christian. I had to sneak to and from the library and hide the books. Before I got my license, I would walk a kilometer to the nearest library, sometimes in the middle of winter, wearing my good old-fashioned homemade calf-length dresses, parentheses, with no tights on underneath, end parentheses. When I got a job, I bought my own books, and if parents thought they looked, quote, bad, end quote, they'd take them away. I bought this gorgeously illustrated book about characters from The Lord of the Rings and a graphic novel version of The Hobbit, and they took them both from me. And they weren't cheap. I'm still salty about it. Side note, that is completely awful when parents take your books. I'm still salty about a book that I had before we moved, and my parents didn't think it was a big deal that it somehow didn't end up coming with me. Doesn't matter that it happened when I was like 7 years old. I'm still upset about it. Also, was anyone else not allowed to wear tights because parents thought that they would sexualize you? My mom had that initial idea, probably from her mom, but she wore tights, and eventually she got over the idea of me wearing tights. Last but certainly not least, user Sidorus Advice commented, He-Man toys. Quote, Jesus is master of the universe. Also, magic is bad. End quote. That quote, I believe, sums up the majority of our stories. As for you listening, I hope this didn't trigger you in a bad way. Hopefully you can get some humor out of the things you were denied when you were a child due to religion? What are some of the things that you would like to share? Please leave them in the description below. Thank you for watching and listening, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.